I didn't agree to that.
We all need to sign NDA for that.
I have the control. I can edit that, but I just want to record.
Even our Big Ben wash shows 5 cards at 5 p.m.
It has been recently renovated, right?
Yes.
Is it still covered in scaffolding, or did they take that down yet?
No, they have taken that out. So
Oh, nice.
Came out so beautiful, like the whole renovation. It looks like masterpiece now.
Oh, I got to see some new pictures.
Yeah, please come. We need to have some in-person meetups soon.
Chuck, if you want, on Saturday I'm visiting Big Ben. I can send you the good pictures. I'm not that a good photographer, but you never know.
It's hard to screw that up.
Dhruv is really good for it. He clicked one picture for me, which I am using for today, and I think he has some really good skills.
Well, hopefully in 20 or later this year, we'll have another Knowledge on the Road, and I don't know where they are, but hopefully they'll be in London, and I can get out there and see you people face to face.
But there is one more thing. On April 6th, there is some ServiceNow summit happening in London. So anybody from London want to join? Just register for that.
Oh, good one.
April 6th.
Yep.
Good.
If you don't mind, Dhruv, can we share that URL so that people could actually?
Yeah, I'm searching that URL. Actually, it's not publicized anywhere. I don't know how I found that, but I'll share that.
Yeah, let's do that. It's so great to see people in person.
Definitely.
We have really good numbers. We have 42 people joining us. 43 now. Good. Let's wait for 2 more minutes.
3. It's just 5 too.
Yeah, that's it.
It's my turn to fly. So girls get in line, cause I'm easy, no playing this guy like a fool. Cause now I'm alright. You might have had me caged before, but not tonight. And you may not believe that, baby, I'm relieved. This fire inside, yeah, burns too bright. I don't wanna stay so long. I just wanna say goodbye. It's a beautiful day, and I can't stop myself from smiling. If I drink and then I'm buying, and I know there's no denying that it's a beautiful day. The sun is out and the music's playing, and even if it started raining, you won't hear this boy complaining. Cause I'm glad that you're the one who got away. Cause if you ever think I'll take up my time with thinking of our breakup, then you've got another thing coming your way. Cause it's a beautiful day. Beautiful day. Oh baby, any day that you're gone away, it's a beautiful day.
The song is on loop, so don't mind. It will play again.
I don't know why you think that you could hold me when you couldn't get by yourself. And I don't know who would ever wanna tell the seam of someone's dream. Baby, it's fine. You said that we should just be friends while I came up with that line, and I'm
1 more minute to go.
So there are lots of people in the waiting room. Just hold on. I started enjoying the music and I forgot that I need to allow people to come in.
I do that too.
when you said goodbye, my whole world
Yes, it's good. Like people joining in.
can't stop myself from smiling. If I drink in there,
Where is our Mr. Philip Swan?
Already joined.
Hi, you hear me?
Yeah.
Playing some tunes. Hi, sorry for the delay getting here. I've got some stuff going on in the background. So, what do you need from me, Drew and Kapal? Thanks for getting this set up. Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello, hello. We
Hello.
just need your presence.
Hey, Ashley. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, everyone.
Thanks for having me.
All right, it's already 5:05 now. So shall we get started, or do we have more people who are still waiting in queue?
I'll just take care of that lobby
Okay.
thing. We can start.
All right. Thanks, Dhruv. So hello, everyone. My name is Kopal, and I will be your host today, along with Philip and Dhruv. And a little bit about myself is, yes, this is me. This is your host. So I'm a solution architect at Deloitte UK. I'm based out of London, and just like Dhruv and my co-host, like I'm an organizer at Mavericks and a ServiceNow developer MVP. And yeah, a fun fact about me is that I'm a dog mom and an artist by heart. So enough about me for today, and let's see what do we have on agenda. Um, so we have a lot of prizes to win. So stay attentive today. And here comes the first one, which is, it's an opportunity to win $25 of voucher. And all you need to do is to create a LinkedIn post, and you can use this hashtag. You have to use this hashtag. That's the only rule. And there is no limitations. You can use whatever you want. You can tag as many people you want. And anyone who has the maximum number of likes at the end of the session would be a winner. So it's a very simple game. So that's the first one to win prizes. Um, moving on next, we'll shortly brief you the agenda for today. So today we have firstly we have Ashley with us. So first session was by Ashley. Next we have a session by Chuck, and the another one we have a quiz, which again a new opportunity to win more prizes. Later on we have winners from both the quizzes. Like the first one, the I just told you about the LinkedIn post, and the second one from this quiz. And the at last you could ask away your questions if you have anything. And like at last it's a wrap. So that's the agenda for today. And let's go back. I will brief you a bit more about this one. I think some of you have not joined that time, so it's just a simple an opportunity for you to win a $25 voucher, where you need to create a LinkedIn post using this hashtag about this meetup. That would be my preference. If I'm using this London meetup post, I would use something about the meetup, and you could post it on LinkedIn, and anyone who has the maximum number of hits would win this. And there are no limitations on tagging. You can tag me, Chuck, Throw, anybody you would like to. So that's the first one. Throw, you want to say something?
Just basic tips like I'm giving you a tip like if your post has any image, then it will have more impressions than instead of just text. And try avoiding any links. So just a tip in case you wanna win this thing up. And
Yeah.
none of us is participating in this.
Yeah, indeed. It's a fair game.
Thank goodness. I sucked at that last one you did, Drew. It was like all Bollywood questions.
Be ready, Chuck. You are going to get tagged. So your LinkedIn is going to get flooded for you, both of you. And I think moving on agenda, I think I will pass it over to you, Ashley. The first session by you. So I will stop sharing my screen and over to you, Ashley. And thank you for joining us, Ashley.
Thank
It's
you.
really great to have you. Yeah, over to you.
All right, let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, can everyone see my screen? All right, perfect. So I'm Ashley Snyder. I'm an outbound product manager here at ServiceNow. I'm on the platform web UX team. So, anything dealing with next experience, UI builder, components, when you hear those terms going around, that's the area that I focus in. And I'm really excited to present today because I know that this has been all over on LinkedIn and the community as far as our new UI and the new things that we have coming out in San Diego. So this is a really big release for us. We're really excited to share it with you. Before I get started, just a safe harbor notice. I may be talking to some forward-looking statements that we haven't released yet. Don't make any purchasing decisions based off anything that I talk about in this presentation. This is just for informational purposes only. Cool. So the agenda, so what I'm going to start out with is next experience user interface. And then some other new features that we released in San Diego as far as like our time worked field for workspaces, our new service operations workspace, and UI builder. I'll go ahead and get started with next experience user interface. So this is the big one for us, this release for my team. Brand new user interface is always very exciting. We haven't had one in quite a while. UI 16, 2016, based on the naming. It is an enhanced user interface that is available to all users. As you can see, we have some different parts of the interface, which I'll get into in just a second. But this user interface uses a unified navigation header that you see up here at the top. We utilize things called landing pages that are configured in UI Builder to really give out like customizable and tailored experiences to different users. So you could go in here as an admin and really create different variants of pages. Let's say you want to have one for a fulfiller versus a manager. You can do that in UI Builder, and that page will show accordingly in the next experience user interface. Another thing that we have done is tightly couple it with configurable workspaces. So that is our focus for the San Diego release, is providing a way for admins and users to start adopting our configurable workspaces. And we've had a lot come out with San Diego. Our big one is service operations for ITSM. We've had the CSM workspace out there, and a lot of different products are launching their own. And we really wanted to provide a seamless way to hop back and forth between the platform UI, which we know users are still using and may need to use, especially if they're not tier 1 and tier 2. And for those tier 1 and tier 2 users to hop over to workspaces and get their work done within that interface. So that way you're not switching between tabs and kind of having that swivel chair experience. It's all wrapped up within that one interface for you. Like I mentioned, so the unified navigation header is one big part of the new user interface. We have kind of these pinnable and pop over menu bars here. You can see in the graphic, we do have the application navigator that used to be always pinned to the side in UI 16. You can now have it in the menu bar. You can pin it if you wish. We decoupled the favorites and history from that. You can pin those if you'd like as well. The history got a little bit of updates. You can actually search through your history now, which I really like and think is really helpful. And then we have a workspaces menu item up here as well. And then also our contextual navigation, kind of that pill in the middle, will show you where you're at in the platform. So you kind of know where you're at if you're on a workspace, if you're on a list page, and you can actually favorite from there as well. So just really helpful information all within that one navigator bar right there. We do have some updated user preferences as well. So we have the compact mode for next experience UI. We do have the color choices for theming, such as light mode, dark mode. You can create your own themes and variants and access them as well, just like in UI 16. And we do have some documentation in that, and I'll get to at the end of the slideshow. You can set your notification and application preferences within the single panel. And also, let's say a user is working in a workspace, that's also, the user preferences are also in this panel for him there now. And in the past, you used to set those preferences in the workspace itself. And now it's all been coupled together within this one user preference interface. I mentioned landing pages. So, we have the unified navigator at the top, and then the content that shows within is the landing page. These are configured in UI Builder. And what they're really meant to do is basically provide everything to a user that they need while they're working. So, any task or any kind of reports or anything that they need to look at to start their day would be in the landing page. You can configure your own landing pages. We provided a default one with the San Diego release, but you can configure your own and choose to show those to different users. You can use audiences and variants to show different pages based on that user role or persona. And these, like I said, these are really meant to show content such as like lists, performance analytics, and reporting, data visualizations. You can have other components there, such as approvals. If you've been playing around with this, you've probably seen links out to the knowledge base and to dashboards. So anything that you can really configure in UI Builder as far as components that make sense to the context of what the user is seeing here, you can do. The next thing that you'll notice with the Next Experience UI, outside of the landing pages and outside of the unified nav, is that the platform, or what we're calling now Core UI, has really gotten an update in styling. You'll notice that we have different colors, different fonts. It's just a really, elevated look and feel to those UI 16 forms and lists. And this is applied to dashboards, classic reports, forms, lists, anything that was really in UI 16. One thing I will mention, and one thing that I think that has been discussed in the community, is as of the San Diego release, dark mode does not apply to platform or core UI elements such as dashboards, forms, and lists. This is on our roadmap. We've definitely heard the feedback. I know I want it, but just as San Diego, it only applies to like landing pages that you create in UI Builder or any kind of pages that you create in configurable workspaces. That's where you'll see dark mode taking effect. As far as lists, we have updated some things with the list. As far, aside from styling, we have moved the contextual actions. So, in the past in UI 16, if you were working with the list and you needed to delete some records or do some kind of action, you had to scroll all the way to the bottom of the list and do it there. We've moved that to the top right corner for you. So it's just easy to get to. We have moved some things around as far as like the personalized list columns. That's at the top right, and the new button as well. And then also the pagination has been moved to the footer, which I really like. Again, if you have a really big list and you're trying to get to the next page of it, you had to keep scrolling until you got there. Now it's always fixed to the footer for you, and you can go back and forth easily. As far as forms, you'll see kind of a streamlined header up here. We've updated the process flow formatter. So if you're using that in your custom tables or problem or change records, you'll see that updated formatter. And we've tried to make sections a little bit more visually distinct. So I know this screenshot's pretty small here, but when you click on like a tab like notes or like resolution information, we've tried to really display that you're on that tab. So some of those are some of the things that you'll see as far as like core UI and platform styling changes. The next thing I want to talk about is the time worked field in configurable workspace. To me, this has been a long time coming. I remember writing articles on how to do this back in Orlando when that field just wasn't available. So it wasn't available in Agent Workspace. It wasn't available in configurable workspace until San Diego. So you can use it in both. And it does use the same, time worked field that's found on the task table that you're used to working with in UI 16 and in the platform. Any table that extends tasks can use this field. All you need to do is just add it to the view that you're using to, show your records in Workspace.
I think we are good now. Shall we try again?
Okay. All right, cool. So we'll see what happens, but hopefully we got rid of the distraction.
And we're
so
not
maybe-
joining any more participants. Sorry, Ashley. So we will not add any other new participants now. Cool.
Okay. So moving forward, let's go ahead and talk about Service Operations Workspace for ITSM. I think this is a really big workspace that everyone's been waiting for. So, before Quebec, we released the agent workspace for ITSM around the Madrid timeframe. And then in Quebec, we released the CSM configurable workspace. We didn't really have a solution for ITSM outside of agent workspace. So we didn't really encourage customers to build their own workspaces for ITSM. We just kind of encouraged them to either use the platform or use agent workspace. But as of San Diego, we do have our new workspace for ITSM. And you can manage incidents, interactions, requests, walk-up appointments. Like the configurable workspace for CSM, you can start your day at looking at an overview of assignments here, outages, service announcements, really anything that an agent is going to need to know. But these are also configurable in UI Builder itself. So while we've shipped, a default landing page, if your organization needs something different, you can create a variant of that landing page and show it here as well. And then we also do have the option to integrate with Microsoft Teams. So agents can actually collaborate on incidents with the requester and their peers right from the task itself. So that is an option in this workspace. So definitely encourage, if you've been thinking about workspaces for ITSM and held off or want to know more, enabling this in like a sandbox or PDI instance and taking a look, this really is the release that we are encouraging customers to begin looking at these workspaces. And then I'll just go into some UI Builder enhancements that we've done. I know I don't want to take too much time away from Chuck here, so I may be talking a little bit fast through these. So in UI Builder, we have an enhanced layout. In the past, if you wanted to do more complex CSS, Flexbox, and grid layouts, you actually had to go in there and edit code. We've done away with the need to do that, and we're providing better performance and simplifying the page customization as you do that. So really all you have to go in is choose Flexbox or grid, which one you want. And you can actually even do different layouts within container components itself. So just because your body is using a grid layout, you can actually use a Flexbox layout in a particular column. You have the option to do that. New pages and variants will use the new layout system. We do have a built-in wizard if you're using the old layout system to convert over. So how that works, and you can kind of see a screenshot here, is that if you're looking at converting over, you're not really sure how your layout's going to look. We actually let you compare both versions and preview them, and you can choose which one to use. And we have a lot of documentation on our product docs for that. With the new layout system, you do get enhanced component styling. So in the past, if you wanted to style components, you had to use basically raw CSS to do that. We did expose some variables in Rome, but it just wasn't really easy to work with. You still had to work with those variables within CSS code. Now we've kind of put them all in the styles panel for you. You'll see like how to align things. If you want to, add colors to a component or, a container itself, we've actually exposed the colors and the variables that the theme is using. So if you want to, align that to your theme, you can go ahead and see, the default Polaris theme is here and choose the colors from that, or you can choose your own colors too. We have a color picker palette. And also things like padding and margins are all shown in the styles panel as well. You do have the option, if you like working in CSS or you just need something that is outside of what we've provided, like some, more custom CSS, you can go to the view and edit CSS link at the bottom and just work with that raw CSS. The next thing is the JSON editor. This is one of my favorite things for UI Builder right now, just because I'm not a JSON pro. I never was. You're working with a really big object. It can be kind of hard to parse through and see what you need to do. So what we've done is made a user-friendly editor in UI Builder to really expose the different properties that you need to work with for that component. So kind of in this screenshot up here, in Rome, you would have to go in and edit the raw JSON itself. Unless the labels are really clear, you may not know what you're editing for. And you have to traverse down that schema to do it. in San Diego, we have this user-friendly component to just show you the different properties that can be configured for that component. And you can just put them in right here, and it does update the raw JSON. You can toggle back and forth if you want, if you need to work that way. And we do support simple JSON objects, simple and complex JSON arrays, so adding, removing, reordering items, and even complex nested JSON objects itself. I've talked about this a little bit in some creator toolbox sessions and some live coding happy hours. Definitely encourage you to check those out. And we do have links on our COE if you're wanting more information on kind of how to use this. The next thing is the repeater component. So this is a new component in San Diego. It's available in UI Builder, where you can basically put a component or multiple components within the repeater component, and they'll repeat, per how much you have in your data. So think of this like a for loop, basically. It's a really simple component. It just takes an array of data. Right here, it's using a data resource, but let's say that you had an array that just had like item 1, item 2. It'll loop through that 2 times because there's only 2 items in there, and it will repeat that component. In those live coding happy hours and creator toolboxes, we do have a demo of that if you want to see what it looks like in real time. And it does use a special data binding value at item.value.property. Again, I encourage you to check out the COE, which I'll be talking about in just a moment, for some basic examples on how to use this and more information about it. The last thing as far as UI Builder that I want to talk about is the component formula editor. It's located in the config panel within the data bindings. And what it does is allows you to use different functions and logical operators to configure components. So let's say that you wanted to show a value, if something was blank or not. And I have some more, examples in that creator toolbox. You could do it right here. In the past, you had to actually create a script to do that within the component itself. But this just allows you to do this simple kind of formulas and things right from the component config panel. We do have a really big list of all the supported functions. I put a link here for sharing this slide out. And it's also in our COE and product documentation as well. The last thing I do want to mention before handing it over is our new Center of Excellence. This is something that we've really been working on the past couple of months before the San Diego release, just to make sure we are getting the content that everyone needs out there. We've kind of broken it up into different parts of what our product offers. So Next Experience UI, Web Experience Platform is a term you're going to start hearing. I would just think about it in terms of workspace and portal experiences right now. UI Builder and components. And what we've done is really link out to all the resources that we have out there in ServiceNow regarding these topics. We're creating how-to articles on things such as theming Next Experience, creating landing pages. You'll see them there as well. I just put out one on migrating UI 16 themes over to Next Experience. So check there for new content. It's going to be coming out monthly. A really good one is guidance on migrating to configurable workspaces. We have that article in there as well. And then also frequently asked questions about these topics are in there, and we'll be updating it as we get more questions. And I just put a short link in here. It's on the community. It's the Next Experience Center of Excellence. Sorry, I think I might have clicked that slide, but here's a short link to it. And that's all I have. I think we are opening it for questions later on, I believe.
Yeah, we are opening up for questions at the end. Thank you, Ashley, and I really loved it. I think I personally have tried Next Experience, and I must say this is so for developers. Like, this is so developer friendly. The pagination especially, I loved it. Thank you, Ashley. This was really helpful.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Next on agenda is a session by you, Chuck. Over to you. And fingers crossed, nobody should miss it now.
All right, I'm going to double check and make sure when I share that I get this annotation thing. Let's see. Disable annotations for others. There. Thank you, Daniel. We all learned something today.
Yes.
That's the important thing, right?
Thanks, Chuck.
I learned something about Zoom. If I learned one new trick a day, I'm calling it a success. All right, I wanted to just go through some of my favorite London features from the platform level. This does not get into CMDB or customer service management or anything. And you'll note there's an asterisk on there, which means it's not really 5. It's however many I could count. So just fair warning. For those that don't know me, I want to do a fair introduction. My name is Chuck Tomasi. I am a senior developer advocate at ServiceNow. Been here
Chuck,
since. Yes.
Chuck,
Sorry to
your
interrupt,
screen
Chuck.
is not visible. I think
Yeah.
it's just a minor
Is
bar
it?
that is coming in.
Can you see
Yeah.
it now?
Yes.
Yep.
Well, that's weird. Okay, I just moved it from
Thanks,
screen 1 to screen 2. Bizarre. Thanks for the note. We learned 2 things about Zoom. It's starting to feel like Microsoft. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Trust me, Microsoft is better. Don't give you that much flexibility, and that's how you just stick to the point.
All right.
Thanks, Chuck.
Well, I will be glancing to my left every once in a while to make sure I'm on track. So, as I mentioned, I'm senior developer advocate. Been here since 2010. Was a customer for a couple of years before that, and I've been in the industry for 40 years now. Wow, now I'm an old man. My kids are grown up.
40 years experience.
I think somebody needs to hit the mute button, or the host needs to hit the mute button for Priyanka. Thank you. Okay, not going to get into all the details there. You're not here to hear us, blather on about our hobbies. Number 5, I'm going to do these in reverse order. So number 5, actually, they're in no particular order until you get to the end. The AES updates, App Engine Studio. A lot of great stuff in here, and hashtag safe harbor. There's a lot more great stuff coming in Tokyo that is going to make you start doubting whether you should be using the traditional studio or App Engine Studio. One thing that I love is Form Builder. This is the best of Form Designer, Form Layout. It's even got some dictionary elements in there, UI policy. Like you could do a reference qualifier right from here now. Like, sweet! No more right clicking on a field, going into the dictionary. This is really a powerhouse of what you can do. The one thing that it doesn't do that Form Layout does is, or actually, no, you don't do this in Form Layout. You can do dot walking, which you couldn't do in Form Designer. You can put in an embedded list, but you still have to configure related lists through the traditional Form Layout, or not configure related list. You all know where that is, right, on the Form menu. But lots of cool stuff in here. Your choice list management, just awesome stuff. The more I do like CreatorCon labs, the more I appreciate Form Builder. We can also now do app template authoring in AES. This was actually in the original designs. This is not a new thing. We're just exposing an easy way to do it because what was it, a year ago when we were working on templates to come out, a little over a year ago. I remember November, December, we were helping some partners build some of those templates that you saw. And the process to go from I have an app to I have a template was really painful. But through the magic of background APIs and whatnot, this is now a very, very easy process to do. I did one yesterday, as a matter of fact, for one of our CreatorCon labs. They said, I need a template. I said, I can do that. Decision Builder. If you haven't been using Decision Builder, you really, really should rethink your life. I'm just kidding. The decision tables have been around for a while. Decision Builder is now integrated into, oh, by the way, we will be doing template authoring on Live Coding Happy Hour this Friday. So what is that? Tomorrow, because this is Thursday. So tomorrow we'll be doing template authoring. And Decision Builder is also integrated right into App Engine Studio. This allows you to make those decision tables with a nice, easy UI that was available last September. They've added a whole bunch of stuff like being able to return something other than a reference field, multiple results being returned from the decision table. Lots of great stuff added on here. I absolutely love decision tables, and I have a lot of logic that I've built out using glide filter scripting that needs to be rethought to say, is this a better use case for a decision table and Flow Designer and because the less scripting you can do, the happier your future self will be. Trust me on that after 40 years. Next one, flow diagramming. Great new visualization for flows, not just to see, but you can edit. Not all components, or excuse me, not all actions and flow logic are available in this yet, like decision tables, but that is coming. But as a first pass, I've been building some nice flows right from this. I challenged myself last week and I said, I want to build an entire flow using the new flow diagrammer. Trigger, actions, for each, if statements. And it worked. Like, wow, that was really cool. In fact, there were some things that were actually easier in flow diagramming than they were in the traditional linear flow. Great visualization. A lot of the traditional flowchart people like this because they can follow a path from start to end. It's not like you go down this branch and like, where do I go next? Well, us old timers who've been using Flow Designer for the last 4 years know you just go back to the next level to the left. Like, yeah, but that's not intuitive to newcomers. This is very easy to use, very intuitive. You can see your for each loop going around and around and around and around until it's done. You can see an if, and they even put in little tags on the branches like, this is if the condition is yes. This is if the condition is no. So they can literally follow it with their fingers. And even people who have used the legacy workflow are starting to appreciate the new visualizer. You just flip the toggle switch at the top. You may need to turn on, if you've upgraded an instance and it doesn't have it, there's a plugin called Flow Diagramming View, I believe it is. You can find it, it's not too difficult. Turn that on and away you go. ATF, Automated Test Framework, been around for like 4 years or more now. It's been around for a long time. We've made some nice updates on this that really help out with the debugging process. The first one is breakpoints. No relation to the podcast of the same name. You take your steps, you right click on a step and say, I want to put a breakpoint here. And then as you run your step, you click the debug test. Instead of run test, you click debug test, and it will stop at that breakpoint. You can look at records. You could do, it's not just like this continuous thing that goes, run, I wonder what happened. So you can then step through your steps or just say, hey, run to the next breakpoint or run to the end. Very easy to do from either the platform side or the client runner. There's also another checkbox when you launch that debug test that says, do you want to wait at the very end before I roll back all these changes? Because there's a lot of tests that you need to see the evidence of what it actually did. What do the logs look like? What do the records look like? Am I getting the stuff in the activity stream that I should get in the activity stream, et cetera, et cetera? You know, there's just a lot of things that you want to see before it rolls back. This is technically a breakpoint, but it's after the last step. So if you put a breakpoint on the last step, it stops before the last step, which may be critical when you're debugging. So just think of this as another breakpoint to sneak in between last step and rollback. Yeah, I agree with you, Daniel. I love this too. So number 2, RPA Hub. New tool just launched this week. What day is this? No, last week. Sorry, I'm getting my COVID totally screwed up my sense of time, and I used to pride myself on that. Now I can't even remember what day of the week it is, let alone what week it is. So last week we had our store release and the Major San Diego release, and a whole bunch of new stuff came out. RPA Hub was one of those. This is robotic process automation. I've got a podcast coming out next week where I talk to Prasad, one of the PMs on this. Allows you to, short answer is, why do you need RPA? It's for interfacing to applications that don't have any APIs. Excel, okay, .NET applications that somebody wrote on your Windows machine. It's like, there's never going to be an API for that. This thing has been running for the last 20 years and the company needs it and the company loves it, and we need to automate a process. Or think about when somebody says, I need an account created on the AS400 in your organization. Whew, that's a manual process today. Can now automate that. So this mimics user clicks and drags and all this stuff. And this is one thing I want to point out. This is not a 1.0 release as you traditional think. If you remember back to Kingston, when we had Flow Designer first coming out, it was limited. And we like to take this approach where we release something and we work with the customers to go left, right, up, down, which way should we go with this? How are customers using it? How do they want to use it? And it's the MVP Agile strategy on steroids. This is actually from an acquisition we did about a year ago from a company called IntelliBot, and they have like 3 or 4 years of history behind this. So this library of connectors and actions and logic is all very rich. I got a good look at this back in November, and I expect bigger things out of it with the release officially now. So we will continue to grow. Have a listen to the podcast next Wednesday or sometime after that. Just look for the Breakpoint podcast. A lot of good stuff about RPA Hub. There's a designer, there's a runtime, the instance is involved with scheduling and management and status. It's awesome. Okay, I don't have to beat this one to death, but Ashley already covered it. I've only got a measly old screenshot for the Polaris / Next Experience stuff. This is, I was saying in chat earlier, when I run into an instance that doesn't have it, it's like, oh man, it's amazing how quickly you adapt to this. It's only been out for a few weeks, and already I prefer using this over UI 16, and that says a lot because I was a UI 16 diehard. But when it's not there, I love the fact that when you put a filter in all, and then you go click a favorite or history, that filter is still on all. So it makes navigation just that much faster. It's like, yes, I want to go back to my parties table or whatever it is. It's like, really, that's pretty cool. Same thing with favorites. You put a filter in favorites, you come back to your favorites, it's still there because we all do common things over and over and over again. So that just little touches like that make me really, really happy. Thank you, Ashley and team. Okay, I have a couple of honorable mentions, one of which is the ability to do OpenID authentication. This is sort of like a next gen OAuth 2.0, but much easier to set up, much easier to set up. We did this on Live Coding Happy Hour a week or two ago. So if you want to watch how it was implemented, it's actually pretty easy. You go on Facebook, you set up some credentials, you pop them into a couple of places on ServiceNow, and you get a little button on there. Great for like public agencies, like governments that have citizens out there that already have this. We've had OpenID Connect since Paris, Google, Apple, AWS. They all adhered to some standard that Facebook didn't get the memo. So we've figured out the secret sauce of how Facebook does OpenID Connect. Absolutely no difference in implementation on the ServiceNow side. So I've got a screenshot here where Google's been on there for at least a year. And I just put Facebook on there as well. I went, great. And people are using it. It's amazing when you put buttons on something like that versus self-registration. What's your first name? What's your last name? What's your email address? Blah, 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 blah. You can shortcut there online. I use this probably not as much as I should with various web services. But I really do like it. My problem the reason I don't use it is because then I forget which ones did I use it on, which ones did I log in with, like C. Tomasi. But this really does help, and it's really easy to implement. I would have 18 of these buttons if I had like an Apple developer license. Also shows up in Portal, so that's a Portal. That's a standard UI, so you kind of get the idea of what they look like in the different UIs. Another honorable mention. I am an integration fanatic. If I wasn't, I wouldn't have just made 45 videos about integrations. The Integration Hub import came out in Rome. We were able to do data, dang it, what's the word I'm looking for? Somebody help me out.
Streams.
What was that?
Data streams, wasn't it?
Data streams, yes, thank you. I mentioned I'm getting old. I'm gonna play that senior card now. I just had a birthday last week. So yeah, that's it. Data streams. And now we can do Excel, which makes sense because this is integrated into App Engine Studio. And that's where your low coders are. And that's a lot of what we want to migrate them away from. Get off of those Excel processes, get a system of record, get a system of action, get your basic tables, get your basic flows, and throw that Excel spreadsheet out. So just having this available is so handy. It really makes the whole data source, transform map, import set, field mapping just so much easier. I wish this was around in 2008 when I was first getting introduced to ServiceNow. Being a technical person, didn't have a problem adapting and learning the new concepts. But this is way more easy. In fact, yesterday, I don't know what was going on. I had an instance that was running Rome, and I tried to import a spreadsheet into an existing table. And it kept giving me this crazy obscure error when I would say, I made a data source, I already had a data source. I put my Excel attachment on there and I said, import all records. And it went, I can't, there's something wrong with the headers. I'm like, no, there's not. I copied the content to a fresh new spreadsheet, tried it again, same thing. I said, screw this, upgraded my instance to San Diego, used the Integration Hub import, and it worked like a charm. No complaints, everything wound up in the right place, and I have an easier maintenance path going forward. I don't have to try and decrypt a whole bunch of this stuff. So lots of fun there. So one more honorable mention, UI Builder. Ashley touched on this one as well. It wouldn't be complete. I am not a UI Builder advocate yet. I'm still a portal holdback, throwback, whatever you want to call it, just because, responsive interface, that whole thing. The repeater action, I love this. Just being able to grab a bunch of data and iterate over it with the same component over and over. That's a good one. Formula editor, this is new, but I look forward to seeing where else it appears in the platform. As opposed to doing like calculated fields, we might be able to do something a little more logical and familiar. These are very Excel-like, more familiar to the low coders out there that are coming along. This is classic low code right there. I can write an Excel macro. Great. You can play in AES now. And she also mentioned the JSON editor. I personally have no problem reading JSON as long as it's formatted. If it's all on one line, that's a different story. But the JSON editor helps remove human error, especially if you're editing it by hand. That's not a good idea. So that's my top 5, wink, wink, plus a few honorable mentions for San Diego.
Thanks, Chuck. This was
Thank you.
really
I know I went
good.
through that really, really quickly. We do have the Tech Now episode from February 3rd that goes through it probably even more quickly and has more stuff in it. But wanted to get the clock back on schedule for you.
Yeah, I think this was really good. Totally awesome. And I really like those ATF breakpoints. I have personally used it, and I think that was really helpful for people and most of the clients who are using it. So good one.
I think that's going to really help with the adoption of ATF is just having, like, how did we get this far without some way to debug these things?
Yeah, I did that once, like in New York. I think there were so many errors in ATF, and I was waiting for some new updates. I think Rome has totally upgraded it, and San Diego is changing the game.
The other big ATF thing that's coming out, we did an acquisition you may have heard of from .walk.io.
Yes, I
And that uses artificial intelligence to somehow magically make your tests for you. I haven't seen it yet. I've heard about it. But yeah, that expression right there was what I had like, really? I want to see this.
did.
And
Yes.
this is going to get good. I mean, yeah, bring it. I don't know if it's a pay for product, if it's going to be in platform. I have no information other than what I just said. So keep your eyes out for that. Safe harbor, safe harbor, safe harbor.
Safe harbor, safe harbor, safe harbor.
Everybody. Awesome. All right, then thanks, Chuck and Ashley, for the session. I will start sharing my screen again. So let
Don't
me
forget
know.
to turn off annotations.
Oh, yeah.
It's right at the top of the screen on the More menu. It's like the second thing down.
I did disable it for everyone. Thanks, Chuck.
Should I test your annotations? Just kidding. Everybody, try drawing something.
All right, moving on next, we have quiz. So that's a very simple quiz, and it's on a theme. It's on our favorite theme, Harry Potter theme. I assume all of you are Harry Potter fans. I am, at least. I watch Harry Potter's every December. My end of the season holiday plans are Harry Potter. So it's a simple quiz, and fastest fingers first. And simple rules, you just have to go to the Mentimeter. I will start sharing my screen and will show you exactly what you need to do. And you just need to go to Mentimeter and share answers. Let me, how could I do that? Wait a second. Yes. So firstly, I should give you the Mentimeter
Good.
code, yeah.
Are we allowed to play?
No, not you, Drew.
Drew's got a bit of a competitive streak.
How to
if you
play
haven't
this?
found out yet.
Yes, this is simple. You have to go to the Mentimeter. Either you have to go to this URL, or you can log on to mentimeter.com and press this, put in this code, or you can also do it via this QR code, which is on your screen. Once you guys are able to join, I will. Yes, I see. Most of you have started participating.
Kopal, can you paste that URL in the chat in this one?
Yes.
Some people are joined from system.
I can do that. On your chat screen now.
Is it possible to? Ah, yeah. Thank you.
I will also put in this code. You can go and log in and put this code over there and there will be a quiz.
Yeah, I'm looking forward for the questions. Should be fun.
If you type 999 on your phone, don't you get the emergency services?
That's true in the UK. Chuck, well done.
I gotta keep culturally relevant at some point.
112 in Europe or something, and 911 in the States.
There you go. Look at Phil showing off.
We have 41 of you on the Mentimeter. I will start once. I will just give you 1 more minute to join. All right. Shall we get started?
Yep.
All right.
Don't forget the new number for emergency services: 0800 999 8. Sorry. That's to see who watches the IT crowd.
Are you all able to see the questions on your screens?
Yeah.
I'm also sharing my screen. So this is a funny one. You got it. All right. So who is our Dumbledore? You have to write the full name, not Chuck. Oh, all right.
I'll have to put my stylus to my forehead like that picture.
Bow tie maybe.
Let's see. Okay, so we have
Ooh.
Anubhav leading, Anubhav, Twinkle, James. Moving on
Typing.
next.
I love that picture. That's what Jason McKee looked like on the call yesterday. His Zoom background was just getting really weird. I think it was because the room was dark and it couldn't figure out where he was, and all that showed up was his head.
Let's see who all got the right answer.
Oh, you get penalized for wrong answers?
Yeah, it's more like the fastest finger, and if you're not giving the right answer, but it's more like fastest one. So we have Anubhav as now leading. We have a few more questions coming in. Don't get disheartened, guys. Platform 9304, my favorite. I just recently went there.
Ooh. Are they expected to type the property in?
No, they have the options. So it's
Obviously.
Oh, I see him down there. Okay. I can't type that property in 9 seconds.
so I think
What? Nobody got it?
I don't think so.
Ashley, we're gonna have to put the property in your presentation.
like every ballot. Next one. We3 has put really too much mind on this one.
I'm gonna have to give out socks at knowledge or something. Here, go free a house elf.
I think we have
I think we are gonna see some changes now. Leaderboard is same.
Come
Guys,
on,
come
guys.
on.
Ooh, it's still pretty close.
I think Rishabh was the fastest this time. Moving on next.
Yeah, whenever you are not sure, just mark all of the above.
That's for certifications through.
At first I read that, I thought it said Avada Kedavra. I'm like, what? You want to kill your instance?
I think we got most of you got right.
It's all about how quickly you are doing it. Competition is pretty right. Questions are easy, but
That's fun.
yeah.
All right. So Sanyam was the you were the fastest this time. 3 more questions to go. Come on, guys.
See, easy. If you read the hint, it's pretty easy.
App Engine Studio. I'm just gonna throw out wrong answers.
At least if you want to throw wrong answers, at least throw the choices one. No?
You're confusing others, Cha. Oh,
Look at that. That added a lot of points.
Yeah.
Everybody just smacked it fast.
Moving on next. So we have 2 more questions to go. Flue powder, guys. What is our flue powder in ServiceNow? So Dhruv came up with this one, and I really liked it. It was so funny.
I love the analogies that are being made here.
This is what your mind thinks of weekend. You call rubbish.
I can see how people might have said integration hub to move data back and forth.
Yeah. Okay. Seems like the leaderboard is gonna
Ooh,
change.
the lead is closed. 112 points.
Anubhav was the fastest this time.
Last one.
This one will be the game changer. Who's the most powerful
Well,
one?
everybody knows it's Voldemort.
Oh, I've just seen.
Oh,
Oh,
oh, that's bad.
I think we have a
Just
topic for our next session.
Just saw Maint hiding in there. Damn it.
He sees it afterwards. Ooh, that's it. New leader.
oh, congratulations, James.
Whoa. I'm pretty sure, like,
Thank you very much.
see,
Thank you. Thank you.
once you take on the second spot all of a sudden.
Yes. I think Anubhav, you got it right. You got this one question all wrong, maybe.
So, yeah. So,
It was
Anubhav.
very low there. Glad man.
Congratulations, James.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
James, Vamsi, and Anubhav, you need to send me your mail ID, and I'll send you one link that you need to fill in. It's a kind of a detail thing, and you will get your voucher. So I'll tell you the prices. First one, James is gonna get a $30 voucher. Vamsi is gonna get $25, and Anubhav, you're gonna get $20, I guess, something like that. So
Ooh,
congratulations, guys.
congratulations, guys. Awesome. All right, moving on next. We are sharing my screen. That was a really good quiz. Are you guys able to see my deck? Like
Yep.
back on? Cool. So now back to Q&A. So this is for Ashley and you, Chuck. I think people have few questions, and we would just open the floor for Q&A now, and it's a wrap after that.
I have a question for Ashley, but let's pull some from the chat first.
Yeah.
Who's been monitoring the questions in the chat?
There was one for date and time. I think date time. Somebody asked this question. Do you want to unmute yourself and ask this question yourself?
Yeah.
No.
May I?
Yeah, please.
It's Luis. I'm Luis Franco. Hi. I've been checking San Diego release, and I'm very curious about RPA Hub and automation engine. Is this enough? I didn't see it anywhere in the pricing or the licensing PPTs. So I was wondering if anybody knows if that's included on a specific license or not. Or
Automation Engine is like App Engine. It is its own licensed thing. An Automation Engine, I believe, includes RPA Hub and Integration Hub, which is where the automation part comes from.
so it's an evolution of App Engine, right? In terms of licensing.
It's a counterpart to it. It's a colleague of App Engine of App Engine, if you wish.
Okay.
So yes, there is pricing. I don't know, who's publishing it and where,
in
but
February, I was checking the pricing guide from February to see if we could start promoting the RPA to our customers, and in February it wasn't, at least with that name.
okay.
Thanks.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
How far back are you going on the questions? Because James had one at like 1727. We're going all the way back to the beginning. It might have been answered.
If we can find them, ask them. Yep, go ahead.
Yeah. James had a question. James Hammond. I don't know if you want to ask it, James, but just going back to the beginning, the one I found there about Next UI experience in workspaces.
Thanks. It's already been answered in the chat, Phil. But thanks for that, mate.
No worries.
I can recap it for folks who didn't see. So the question was, are workspaces like a prerequisite for Next Experience UI? The answer is no. You don't have to have a configurable workspace or an agent workspace to upgrade to San Diego and turn Next Experience UI on. So you can use it separately, because we do want to encourage folks to start looking into workspaces, but we didn't make it to where you have to have a workspace as soon as you launch Next Experience UI. We do have a Platform Academy session, which I'll drop a link in the chat, coming up April 14th on activating Next Experience UI, which I'll cover all these topics.
Thanks, Ashley. Do we have any more questions?
Ashley, I noticed when I created a new workspace in San Diego, it defaulted to the old layout. Do we have plans to making new workspaces, like on a scoped app, default to the new layout so we don't have to go through the upgrade process first?
That's a good question. I would assume that is for the creator workflows team, since they do own those templates, but I can take that back to the product managers on that team. And we can put some FAQ on our COE out about that.
Well, that was a lot of letters. FAQ on the COE. ASAP.
One question on the transition from the UI 16 to the Next Experience. What do you think is the correct path? Because the one thing that I check with the personal dev is that we kind of missed the homepage. The previous homepage is like, and it's like you have to configure the landing pages before when you plan of rolling out the Next Experience, right? Because if not, the users can be a bit confused on the previous way of working and the new way. At least that was what so my question was, that is, do you configure landing pages so that the rollout of the Next Experience goes okay with the end users? What do you think?
So that is a good question. That's going to be specific to each organization and how they roll out new products and upgrades. If you're an existing customer, so if you're upgrading from Rome or Quebec or another version, we actually don't enforce the landing pages by default. You'll actually see dashboards or home pages being used within the Next Experience frame, just because we don't assume that a lot of admins are going to have the time to plan their upgrade, activate Next Experience, and configure landing pages. The landing pages aren't a prerequisite to use Next Experience UI. So if you want to continue using those dashboards and home pages that your users are used to when you activate it, they're going to receive the updated styling, but then you can start looking at those landing pages and start rolling those out to users when your team is ready.
Okay, thank you.
I think we have a question from Raz. Is that how to start with UI builders? I know I might be late, but I think that person is asking how he could get started with the learnings for the UI builder.
Yeah, definitely. So we do have a lot of great resources out there. The best one I think right now is the UI Builder course on the developer site. It really does take you from like 0 to 10 on all the basics of UI Builder and what you can find in it. I went through it myself and learned a lot. We do have some now learning courses on UI Builder now. And then if you want to start going further outside of those two resources, there is that UI Builder section on our Center of Excellence site. We do have links to different topics in UI Builder. So if you want to go more advanced with maybe data resources or events, we have some links and some like information for you to start exploring and learning more about those.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. I do not find any other questions on chat. I think that's it. Any last call? Anybody has any final question?
Yeah, I'll just throw my one out if I can.
Yeah.
I think I just added it to the bottom of the chat, but probably just after you collected them. I just want to get my terminology right. So obviously delivering kind of customer facing portals or external facing portals, we had CMS, dead, long gone, right? Legacy. We got service portal. And I think I've just seen for the first time, Ashley, you were saying there's a web experience platform, and you refer to the portals delivered via that as potentially web portals, right? So is that effectively just a different type of portal outside of service portal? And you would potentially configure that via UI Builder either now or in the future? Am I on the right path?
Yeah,
here?
so I know the terminology, we're not used to really, we're kind of used to looking at like products like Workspace and Service Portal right now, but web experience platform is really the all-encompassing thing of what we're doing. So, you know, we have UI Builder as a tool to build experiences such as workspaces and portals. That's all within the web experience platform. We don't have a specific product called web experience platform. That's just the type of experience that it is. So I wouldn't really think of it in terms as it's a service portal. Just think of it as, you know, it is a portal that is configured in UI Builder, and the overall terminology that we're calling it is web experience platform, because this will extend out past portals and workspaces as we get deep into the future, you know, years from now. So we wanted to start introducing that terminology now.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Thank you. So I think it's a wrap, and thank you, Ashley and Chuck, for the wonderful sessions. And I personally learned a lot, and I hope you all had great learnings and takeaways with you. And having this kind of amazing experience, I think we definitely should be looking out for next announcement, which could be for physical event, and that will also help us to get rid of all kind of noise and
people are waiting for the result for that LinkedIn one. You were just wrapping up.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Do
People-
you know who won it? Like, over to you, Dhruv, for this one.
He is Anubhav Ritolia. So we have two Anubhav winning today. So congratulations, man, if you are on the call still.
Yes, Dhruv. Thank you.
Congratulations, man. You need to share your email ID. That should be it. Rest I can take care of.
Yeah, sure. I'll share you.
Cool.
Perfect.
Awesome. Any last word from you, Ashley and Chuck, like before we close this call for today?
I'll just say thank you for joining and watching and letting me talk to you about all the new things that we have. Definitely check out our Center of Excellence site. It is going to be our go-to resources outside the product docs for everything that's happening with UI Builder Next Experience. And also check out that Platform Academy that I linked earlier on April 14th if you want information on activating Next Experience.
Yeah, I echo Ashley's sentiment. Thank you for having us today. Best way to explore this stuff that I know is go get yourself a San Diego PDI and start playing around with it. Explore, learn. There's all kinds of San Diego content. I'm going to put a link in the chat. If autocorrect would stop messing with it.
Incentives link.
devlink.sn/San Diego. We've got our whole catalog of everything we've been covering since February. There's Creator Toolbox episodes every week. There's live coding happy hour videos. There's podcasts that come out, blog entries, lots of great content on the San Diego platform stuff. So check it out there.
Thanks, Chuck. And I'm watching all the content that you are releasing for San Diego. I have personally learned a lot. Great. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Chuck and Ashley, once again.
My pleasure.
It was a great meetup.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.